Before we get going, I just want to say I hope all of you listeners are staying safe, staying sane, staying healthy in these crazy quarantine times. I know it's been tough on all of us. We couldn't do this without the support of you guys, our listeners, our sponsors, our patrons. So thank you so much. If you want to know more about supporting the show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a special shout out to our boss level patrons, Patrick and Christopher. Thank you guys so much for listening. Enjoy the sode.
Okay, so I think I have all of the parts I need for my PC.
Okay, so you got a case and motherboard?
Yep.
Processor?
Yep.
Hard drive?
Yeah.
Dude, which video card did you get?
Video card? I don't think I have a video card.
What about a GPU?
You mean PSU?
No. That's the power unit. You need to look for the graphics card.
Oh yeah, I have a graphics card. Do I need a video card?
No. It is a video card.
That can't be right. No. This says it's a graphics card.
No, the graphics card is the video card. So is the GPU.
No, Aaron, that's the power unit, man.
I give up. Okay, you don't need a graphics card, JD. Do not worry about it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. It's the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And Aaron.
And we're your hosts for this evening. Dude,
and
throwback,
wait,
right?
What is a GPU?
Graphics
What's the
processing
difference
unit?
between a GPU and a video card and a graphics card?
They're all the same thing.
Do you know how long
Right?
it took me to figure that out?
That's what I'm saying. I think it takes everybody a while to figure out, and everyone's like, we don't need to explain it to them. It's a rite of passage. They'll get there.
It is because, okay, so you're new at building a computer, and you're like, I need a video card. And then if you've looked into it a little bit, you're like, I need a graphics card. But the people who are knowledgeable and you're asking them, dude, which graphics card should I get? They're saying, okay, here's the GPUs. And you're like, what the freak are you talking about? GPUs?
You're like, whoa. I wanted a graphics card. Why are you talking about GPUs?
Calm your nerd self down.
Yep. That's how it was for me.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies is this awesome cookie shop here in Midvale, Utah. Guys, remember how Trent talked about the cookies last week? That they were rolling out, and he's like, "Oh, they're still in the test kitchen or whatever," but he's pretty sure that's what they're going to be. Dude, so I went and got these cookies. And Jenna and I got them, and if you guys are in Utah, you'll understand what this means. We went to Astro Burger and got an Astro Burger and fries, and we got Crave cookies while we were out.
Oh.
And we ate our Astro Burger and fries, and then we're like, okay, we're about to explode because that's so much food. But then we're like, but we want to try those cookies, guys. We ended up eating 3 of the cookies.
What?
After that. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It is.
That's hardcore.
So the cookies of the week with Crave has, the first one is the Chewy Churro. It's a snickerdoodle sugar cookie with cinnamon cream cheese frosted, and then a little tiny baby churro on the top.
Little baby churros.
And then the other one is Dulce de Coca, which is a rich dulce de leche sandwiched between Mexican hot cocoa dough and topped with dulce de leche drizzle on top.
It looks crazy.
Blew my mind. The Mexican cocoa is, and they have the Rockstar back, and you guys know I like the Rockstar. So it is just, you guys, if you're in Midvale, you've got to check out Crave Cookies. You can find them at cravecookies.com, and they have all of the deliveries that you could ever want. Okay, so our news. Let's start with this news. When I saw this headline, I was so happy. Assassin's Creed Valhalla won't be the longest or the biggest game in the series. So this came from an interview with. Was this an interview? Oh yeah, the narrative
tweet,
with a
wasn't
narrative
it?
director. I guess so. Yeah. So basically, the narrative director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the latest Assassin's Creed game that's coming out, that is a Viking themed one. They have scaled back the size and length of the game because I think in part because of they're doing more ambitious things like all the raids and all the other systems they're adding. I think they needed to scale back the size of the game. But I think they got a little criticism that the Odyssey, that was the one in Greece, right? Ancient
Yeah.
Greece. I think they got complaints that one was just like overly long. And I'll be honest, I jumped off of Origins, which was the one right before Odyssey in Egypt. And I was like, ugh, it just kept going and going. And I was like, okay, I need to take a break. And then they had the other one that came out that was even longer. So I think Assassin's Creed fans may be appreciative of this because they're like, okay, well, that's a lot of content because they released those two back to back. Weren't they within 12 months of each other?
Yeah. Next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know.
I thought they would triple down and be like, guys, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 300 hours minimum.
Yeah, the
That's
biggest
the intro.
game world in history, like all that shit.
It's the size of the real world. You try to walk 2 miles in the game, it'll take you 20 minutes. All right.
Yeah, I'm really glad they didn't go the Death Stranding route. But moreover, I don't know. I like this trend. I think it definitely was not for the same reasons, but I like the analogy of the Outer Worlds. It didn't overstay its welcome. I think, Peterson, you said it was over right when you were like, huh, yeah, this is a good time for it. Like, yep. I'm good.
There wasn't too many side quests, and the ones that there were, you wanted to do them. And I think that's the big difference. Just make like a moderate amount of meaningful side quests to do instead of 500 side quests you could get sidetracked doing, so you'll never finish the game.
And a billion fetch quests.
Oh, so many fetch quests just because they feel like they need more quests. Make it smaller. Give us a 30-hour amazing experience, and I will be happy to pay for that every single time. Right?
It reminds me of God of War, because God of War felt like that. Like, you get a really good, meaningful story, and there was a bunch of side quests that still felt really cool if you wanted to do it.
Yeah, and there was lots of stuff you didn't have to do. They added all that. Like, I didn't do the Valkyries in God of War.
Oh my god!
I only did a couple.
So hard.
But I didn't do them because I was like, I just want to see the story.
You didn't have 5 extra hours to spend on each one.
And I didn't. Here's the thing: I didn't feel like I missed anything. I felt like the game was just as good. But if I wanted to sit in that world for a little bit longer, I could have.
Right.
I appreciated that.
Yeah. So here's to hoping maybe they do this more. Maybe more series, more games. Realize that, because I feel like, if you guys can correct me if you disagree, but I feel like single player narrative games have kind of seen a resurgence in the last couple of years because companies went so all in on the multiplayer and the games as a service thing that they completely forgot. And then it left all these gamers like, where are all my meaningful single player experiences? So I feel like now that we've got more, it's nice to see that there are going to be some that aren't just giant behemoths that take a million years to beat because they're trying to cram as much content in there as possible.
Red Dead Redemption, you mean?
Well, especially when there's like a new game coming out all the time, and I don't want to spend 60 hours playing a single player, and then I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a deterrent for me if I see a game that's 60 hours to beat, like The Witcher 3. I don't think I'll ever beat The Witcher 3. and it's just daunting every time I want to play it. It's like, do I really want to invest 120 hours to play this game?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you said 2 numbers there, and that's how my brain read it when you said 60 hours, and then you're like, do I have 120 hours? Because that's how I read 60 hours in a game. I'm like, double any base number, because that's how effing long. It took me twice as long as they said Outer Worlds is to beat Outer Worlds. I think they're like, oh, it's like a 13-hour game. It took me easily 30 hours.
Yep, same with
I
me.
did everything in it. So when I see a 60-hour game, yeah, just like Aaron, I do that math, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot. 120 hours.
Oh my goodness. Yep. No, and so I feel like we've seen a lot of the single player games lately too that are not super long, and I am in for it. Like you said, Doom wasn't that long. You finished it. I finished Outer Worlds. I haven't finished a single player game in a long time. I rarely do it, and I feel like I've been able to now. So
you'll definitely
I appreciate
finish
this.
Doom too. Yeah, I think you'll definitely finish Doom. It's okay, son. You'll like this game. It's only 20 hours long. 40 hours? I don't have 100 hours. Okay, this next one. Call of Duty Modern Warfare's file size is getting ridiculous. Speaking of inflation.
Dude.
Okay,
Is it
yeah.
a competition for them?
Same exact joke for Modern Warfare. The Modern Warfare client boots up. It's like, hey, do you have 20 gigs? And I look at my computer. My computer's like, 50 gigs? We don't have 200 gigs.
Just
Are you
keep multiplying.
It's
Okay.
200 gigs for a single map on this
So
game? Are you kidding me?
The best part about this is when I downloaded it, when they launched it, I think it was like 80 gigs because I remember making a big deal out of it. Now it is over. It's close to 200 gigs, 180 gigs, and
bloated. They're just stapling things on top.
Every time I see an update, I log in and I'm like, oh, there's an update. Ah, crap. I look, it's 10 plus gigs. I don't know what
Every
they're
time.
doing. Is it a competition? I don't understand what's happening.
Well, and every time you log in, there's always updating shaders.
Dude,
like, how many shaders
Yes!
are they updating?
What is that?
What the, yeah, just download it before I get into the game, and then
Load letters? What the fuck does that mean? I'm like, shaders? Like, am I supposed to know what that means?
And why do I have new shaders literally twice a week?
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know what shaders mean. I don't really care. I just want to play with my friends. And if you click like fuck off shaders, it's like, are you serious right now? The game is gonna suck so bad. You are gonna look like such a dumb shit if you don't download your shaders.
Bro, for real?
Oh, you're ignoring the shaders update again? Anyway, so
dude.
Call of Duty's enormous. Yeah. I didn't even read the article because I was like, yeah, this is too big. Why is it you have to stay this much space?
Why is it the biggest game I have on my computer and it's one map? I don't. It's crazy. I don't know.
Okay, so I just skimmed the article, and you don't need to read it because the headline just sums it up. Sorry. The game's really big. They said that for like 8 paragraphs. Okay, next up. EA's upcoming games will let you upgrade them to run on next-generation consoles for free.
I love this.
So this means if you own an EA game, an EA title, like say Fallen Order, I think this only applies to digital, I would assume, right? Or would it scale up? So if you had like Fallen Order on a disc on the PlayStation 4, if you plugged it into your PlayStation 5, would it let you play the PlayStation 5 version?
I'm not sure. They don't say that in the article. It's not a long article.
I would assume though you'd have to purchase it digitally because, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
because it's
like
probably
Xbox...
linked to your account, right?
Yeah, Microsoft will allow users to play the same title across all platforms in the Xbox family without extra paywalls. So I think what this is generally getting at, and it's what we've seen a lot of in the news, is that this console generation shift is going to be unlike any of the past ones. Mm-hmm. So many of these past ones have just been like about like it's like, here's the PS3, you're like, oh, you're still playing a PS2, are you stupid,
you idiot?
Yeah, and it's like
Are you still using those old shaders? It's the same thing.
Yeah, so this is like, you can have shaders on or off, bro. It's totally okay. You want to play Apex Legends on the PlayStation 4 with people on the PlayStation 5? That's fine. I think it's going to be a much calmer, much less drastic shift, and I think we've talked about it on the podcast before because it doesn't seem like they're pushing it super hard. It doesn't seem like they're trying to sell the PlayStation 5 as much as they tried to sell the PlayStation 4 when they were upgrading from the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't feel like you're being pushed, especially on Microsoft's end. I feel like they're not pushing their consoles at all. They don't care what console you have. They just want you to sign up for their subscription service. They don't.
So
care
here's
what
my
you're
question:
using.
Does this kind of seem like a video card update or a GPU graphics card update? In that, if they're like, okay, here's the 2080 versions of cards, but like it doesn't super matter. You don't need to get them right away. I think it's almost just like a big visual update, and they're like, hey, you don't have a big 4K TV, like, meh, it's not going to be a huge difference.
Yes, I think that's a really good comparison because, I mean, think about from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3. That was a huge change, right? A massive difference. We're not going to see those huge changes anymore, right? Because our games are in 4K. That's the only metric I know. And
okay,
so
well, the Xbox,
it's not going to get much better.
One X does full native 4K, right? The one that's out now? Yeah, that's the one that's out now. Yep. So what the hell is the next Xbox going to do? Like, how do you do better than 4K? Is it
8K?
Is that it? Yeah,
no,
so
8K would be the next, yeah.
Yeah, so who the hell...
Wait, or is it 4L? Do we go letters or numbers?
For LV?
It loops after 16,000, I think.
And then we go back to A? 16A? Do we start...
it switches back into Roman numerals.
Triple X.
But yeah, I feel like just like the 2080, when the 2080 first, they announced that generation of graphics cards, there was an update from the 1080. It was like, okay, cool. 2 games can actually utilize this. Mm-hmm. Not as many machines can actually like show us all the things this claims to do. So I don't think NVIDIA was trying to sell it that hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I think that their EA is kind of wise to this, and I think they're being smart by being like, yeah, we don't want to lose gamers because you guys are worried about switching back and forth. Like, you can play whatever you want. Just buy our games and get our games passes and get our EA access. Is that what it's called?
EA, sure.
Access?
EA access.
Okay.
It's like Premier Access or something like that.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, the subscription services in games are kind of a no-brainer.
Well, the best part about them is you can the best thing that has ever happened with subscription. Yes, you can sign up for it, play your game, and then sign out. You don't need it anymore. And I love that they're not trying to lock you down for like 2 years, like our ISPs are still doing to us. They're not trying to lock you down. They're like, hey, sign up, use our stuff. Hopefully you forget that you signed up for it. If not, then yeah.
Hopefully. And that's the thing, is I think that shows me that they have a great confidence that they're delivering a good product. They don't have the tricky, like Comcast is not delivering a good product. They're like, if we have an outage for a month and customers are dissatisfied, we can't survive that. We need to fucking lock them in so that we can just ride out the storm. I think being like, oh yeah, in and out in a month, who cares? I think that shows that you have confidence that people will stick around.
We'll get you on the next game. We'll get you.
Yeah, we'll get you on the next one. You'll stick around. Bitch.
I need to make sure when I buy my Maddens every single year, I can just...
Yeah, it's exactly why Netflix keeps pumping out all these originals, because eventually people keep asking you at the office, and you're like, okay, I signed up for Netflix to watch this one show, and then I canceled. And then I have to sign up to watch this next show. Eventually, you're just going to hang on to it. So it's pretty smart. This next one, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is the start of a new franchise, EA confirms. This is on IGN, and it's kind of what I think everyone expected after Fallen Order had the sales numbers that it had.
Yeah.
Which
Give me more.
yeah, they were. I mean, anyone from Star Wars to EA is salivating at how much money that game made. And so they're going to definitely. They have 100% confirmed Fallen Order 2, so that's in production or in development or whatever. And then they've talked about others that might be like spin-offs or just other games in the universe. I don't know.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like that they want it to be a franchise?
No, it's so lazy. Don't just lock in on the one fucking story that you guys had success with. I think the biggest shortcoming and the biggest failing in the entire Star Wars media outside of the books is the fixation on the same storylines and the same like I don't need to hear like the extra details of Vader's background and what he was doing during this time and during that time just so you can shoehorn him into another video game. Make up your own compelling characters. Star Wars games have done this before in the past, and I hate that they're just locking it again. The Jedi Outcast series, they just invented Kyle Katarn, and he turned out to be like such an awesome character that people really like, and they still cosplay and hang out and like read about and they're just big fans of his character to this day. And he took his story was pretty far outside. I mean, it took place at the end, so after episode 6, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to see some kind of new storyline, and then if they integrate some of these main characters as like side characters within the game, so it kind of brings you into more of the Star Wars universe, I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah, tell your story and end it. Start your story, end it, do a new one, right? There's plenty of creatives out there who can make you a new good Star Wars story. Don't hang on to the one character, right? So, yeah, I'm not excited that they're doing this.
Not really.
I want because great story. I want them to make a new one now.
Here's the thing: make the exact same game because they talked what was appealing to this was like a Metroidvania. The exploration of the game, the way that you leveled up your character, that was appealing. Keep all those systems. Make it different. Just skin it. Just reskin it.
New story. Give us a new story.
Yeah, you can use all the same assets. It can look and feel exactly like Jedi Fallen Order, and you can call it something that makes you realize that it's in the same kind of series. But give me something new. Give me a different character. Give me a different storyline. I don't know,
dude.
Man.
I want another non-Jedi Star Wars game.
Yes.
So I want to play not as a Jedi anymore. Like we've played as Jedis lots of times with the powers and the lightsabers and all that stuff. Give me someone else. Give me something else, like Mandalorian. That it was such a huge success, and there's no Jedi, right? And so you don't need that in the Star Wars universe to be successful. So yeah, I want more of that. Give me more Mandalorian, right?
And the other thing is, and you were saying, Peterson, like end your story. The problem is when you write, which they wrote this story, it's open, like the ending is open for more and like a sequel and stuff. I feel like you can write more compelling and more interesting stories if you're not trying to set up a series.
Yep.
And
end it.
These things are more satisfying when it's not like, all right, the next cliffhanger, because we want people to be waiting for the next one. Just wrap it up. Just tell your story and be done with it. Okay. This is just a quick update on a story we talked about last week, and there's very little more. The Last of Us leaks that came out a week or so ago. Sony has apparently identified the responsible party, and they have confirmed it is neither a member of Sony nor Naughty Dog.
Wow, so it was hackers.
I don't know what that means. I don't know.
It was hackers.
It must have been
the
80s. Someone picked up a USB in the parking lot, man. Shit happens.
No, not in the parking lot. They picked up a USB at medieval times, and it was just all there for them.
Dude, there's
the Last of Us porn.
The floor of medieval times. You're as likely to step on like a peanut shell as you are a USB, a very compromised USB. It's filthy. Okay, and our last story here, this is just a continuous follow-up on the latest Half-Life game, Half-Life Alyx for VR, which is incredibly popular. Apparently way more popular than anyone thought it would be. Half-Life Alyx has added nearly 1 million VR users to Steam.
1 million
record.
VR.
This is it. Like, every freaking unit is sold out. When I was looking for Christmas to buy Jenna a VR headset, there's nothing, dude. They're all sold out. Like, it doesn't matter the kind, it doesn't matter the company, the make, the model. Like, everyone rushed out to get these when this game came out because I think Half-Life alone sold it. Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, I think, that's the story of this, right? Because 1 million in video game terms is big, not that crazy, big. Right? But 1 million people, pretty much because of one game,
dropped like at least $1,000.
Yes, they're not just buying the game; they're buying the game and hardware and expensive hardware just to do this experience. That is an achievement to me. That is massive.
Yeah, imagine if the Guitar Hero guitar cost $800.
Yeah,
and $1,000 minimum computer to run it, and you had 1 million people go play Guitar Hero. People would be like, "Holy shit!"
Yep.
So I think this is kind of a question that I wanted to pose because it's just on the way out of the news door. Do you guys feel like this is a sign that VR has reached an inflection point? That now you have this many more people that got into it. Do you think this is kind of going to be a snowball run-on effect, or do you think this is just kind of like a blip on the radar and an outlier, and other than a studio like Valve, no one can make a game that's going to have this appeal for a while?
Here's my thoughts. I thought about this a little bit. I think there are probably a number of studios clamoring to get a really dope VR game out there right now because there are a lot of VR games out there, but there's not a lot of VR games you can play for a while. Right? A lot of them are experiences, or they're shorter games, so you finish them in 6 to 8 hours. Most of them are gimmicky. But here's the thing. If you put out the next dope game, you're going to have at least 1 million people want to buy this game because they are now sitting on their $1,000 piece of hardware. All that hardware's out there now.
Yeah.
Valve did the hard work and they got the hardware out there, not to mention all the people who already had the hardware out there. Now you just need to make the next dope game and you will sell an automatic several million copies of it.
That's a good point.
Dude, absolutely. This is like the people that bought were so eager to buy Rock Band because at least they could play Rock Band with their Guitar Hero guitars.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it was a much lower buy-in for Rock Band, and that's why Rock Band was able to piggyback off of the success of Guitar Hero because there were already a ton of peripherals out there.
Yep. It's not an extra cost anymore for these people. So if there's any buzz about the next VR game, you're going to sell 1 million copies easy.
And then you can sell 1 million more copies because everybody wants to play it.
Yep, dude, Peterson, brilliant analysis. I like that prediction.
Yep.
So you think that there's going to be a lot of companies realizing this and just trying to jump on this train? They want to be the next one.
And it's an incentive, right, for companies. Now they're looking at it because companies were making them before, right? But now they're going to be looking at it more seriously because the hardware's out there. You know what I mean? So
I sure hope so. I really want VR to take off and not cost $1,000 for
because economies of scale.
Awesome.
The next big game hopefully will drive down costs of the VR headsets more.
Because that's got to be like the next big thing, right? VR. I mean, who doesn't want to put on a headset and feel like you're in a video game?
I mean, every futuristic TV show certainly seems to think so.
I don't know, man. Dope. I just watched Back to the Future Part 2, where they go to the future, and we missed hard. We don't have flying anything.
That's what I'm laughing about. Yep.
We really missed. I died, though, when they go to play the arcade game. And they're like, how do you play this? And he's like, oh, I can play this game. And they're like, oh, you have to use your hands? Ugh.
Fuck, what do you normally use? What do you think the hole in the arcade machine's for? So,
oh my gosh, wait.
So
whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
whack is something.
All right, let's move on.
Kudos, I'm yours.
I think one of my favorite things to do is to watch futuristic movies or from like the 90s and be like, well, cell phone does that. Cell phone does that. Cell phone does that. They have all these machines and gadgets and tools and things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, those are all done by a cell phone now.
Yeah. No, dude, Back to the Future, he gets a fax from his boss saying you're fired. Right. And it prints off like the old printer that's like,
yeah.
I was like, oh man!
In like every single room in his house,
yeah,
has a fax machine.
Dude, he got a woof. That says you're fired.
Okay, let's try this again.
Kudos, I'm yours.
Kudos is our positivity segment. Sometimes we have to do it twice to get it right. I will go very quick. I will go first because mine's really quick. I just want to give a kudos to PC Parts Picker. I think it's PCPartsPicker.com. If you guys have ever built a PC, you're probably familiar with this website. It allows you to browse basically an entire index of every PC part known to man. And it lets you create builds and check compatibility, which is super awesome. So I recently just upgraded my graphics card, and I was able to just input all my parts from my last build. The last time I had a build that was saved on there, put all my parts in there, and then just was able to search for a compatible GPU, and it made it the whole thing like it helped me shop with a lot more confidence. And so I got a new GPU on the way. Hopefully, it comes next week, and I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure it will work when I plug it into my computer, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, just plug it into the just the way you said plug it in. Just plug it into the USB drive, and it'll be work, right? Just plug it in.
I mean, generally, what it's going to look like is like I'm going to get the thing in the mail. I'm going to open the box. I'm going to open my computer, and then I'm going to be like, "Where does this thing fit?"
Where's the hole?
And the best place, the best fucking hole for me to shove it into, I'm going to go for. So hopefully that works.
That's the name of your sex tape.
Welcome to the 3X game show.
Yeah.
Dude, you set yourself up for that one.
Who else has kudos?
Okay, I have. Actually, Aaron, why don't you go next?
Oh, okay. So my kudos is Star Wars Clone Wars. So Clone Wars Season 7 came back after years of being gone. It was canceled after Season 5. They came out with the short Season 6, and then Star Wars Rebels went on for the next 4 or 5 years. And so recently, they just dropped Season 7. So if you've never seen Star Wars Clone Wars before, it takes place between episode 2 and 3, and it's basically the story of Anakin and his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano has basically become one of the most popular Star Wars characters ever.
Absolutely.
She's probably one of my favorites, if probably the top 2, if I had to pick.
Dude, you hear her voice. Did you know that? In the last Star Wars movie, the Rise of the Skywalker, you hear her voice.
Gave me chills.
Super cool.
So the Clone Wars Season 7 starts off a little kind of nostalgic, kind of has the same format as the other seasons. Then the next 4 episodes are kind of kind of dry. They're not the best, but then the final 4 episodes, it's probably the best 2 hours that I've experienced in a Star Wars. Like anything, live action or anything. It's so awesome.
That sounds like you have to do so much homework to appreciate, but also it sounds like it's worth it.
Dude, you can probably just watch those 4 episodes and be totally fine.
Oh, really? Like it wouldn't be too out of context?
No. So this season 7, it kind of speeds up and it aligns with episode 3. So you're actually watching an alternate perspective on episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. As that's going on, Ahsoka is having her own journey as Order 66 hits and all that stuff. It's super awesome.
Dude,
that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
And it's on Netflix, right? Or it's on Disney
No,
Plus?
Disney Plus.
Yep.
Disney Plus. So you can actually, if you don't want to watch every single episode ever of Clone Wars, because season 1's a little weird time-wise, there's a cheat sheet online. Just search Clone Wars episodes to watch list and just go through that.
Watch
there you
lists
go.
are so helpful.
Because I tried to get through. I was like, I'm going to start this again. Didn't make it through season 1, and I think the hard part for me of getting through season 1 is because it's really, even more than the other seasons, focused on their fight against Dooku and General Grievous, and you see how all that ends later in the movies, and so it has no weight. You're like, okay, well, they're not going to kill Dooku. Dooku's not going to kill them. They're not going to get Grievous, right? You know what's going to happen because you've seen episode 3, and so yeah, that's why I had a hard time getting through season 1, but I do want to get into it because I know the story gets out of the episode 2 realm quite a bit.
Yeah, and it really puts more of a humanity to the clones because they each have their own individual identity, and you see their whole story arc, their journey through the whole Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. And so if you watch all the Clone Wars, you'll get more attached to the actual clones themselves through the whole journey. It's awesome. It's definitely worth it.
Cool. How about you, Peterson? Do you have any kudos?
Okay. Guys, I got to give a disclaimer to this kudos. I'm giving a kudos, and this does not mean I support or enjoy or encourage you to enjoy the titles by this company, but my kudos is going to Riot Games.
It's happened, folks. 2020 finally got to Peterson.
I'm back.
League of
Legends is back. I am going hard. I am mid lane feeding. Because isn't that what you're supposed to do? You just log in.
That's the first thing you do. You just
Yeah.
walk down mid until you die. It's awesome.
Yeah. No. So here's the thing. We've given Riot Games a lot of crap, especially after that report came out from Kotaku talking about their fart face incidences and the lack of representation of both women and underrepresented minorities. And so, they came out and they're like, we're making changes, right? And we kind of scoffed at them. We were like, okay, you're not making changes. You're just saying that because you're getting a lot of crap. But they just put their numbers out there, their year-over-year growth, and I got to give them kudos because they have made positive strides in both women representation and URMs, which is underrepresented minorities. So just to give you some of those numbers for the minorities, the underrepresented minorities, which is pretty much any non-white race, so it's Hispanic, Latinx, Spanish, Black, African American, Native American, Alaskan Native, that sort of thing. So they their hires over the last year since that article came out were at 6% of their hires were underrepresented minorities. They're at 12% now, that's a big change to double your percentage of URM representation at Riot Games. So kudos for that.
Yeah, that takes an actual deliberate effort. That level doesn't just happen on its own.
Right. And and I was talking with Aaron a little bit about this before. You could take the naysayer, the glass half empty approach and say, yeah, well, they're just trying to make these numbers to make themselves look better, right? Which 100% is the case, right?
You don't point, do this, is it not?
Right. But
not
what
to be a
happens?
shitty company.
What happens, even if you don't believe in these values, if you're just doing it because of public pressure, what happens is you have more women, you have more minorities, and all of a sudden the culture's changing. Things start to change and look different because they're there, and that's the whole point of representation and setting representation goals at a company. I know some people have a lot of problems with like affirmative action goals and stuff like that. But if you can get those numbers up, then they will naturally start to it'll change itself.
You don't have to make any efforts.
Right. There's no more efforts at that point. So
the
women oh good.
Well, I was just going to say my company is pretty diverse, and you can see like just the applicant pool is similarly diverse.
Yep.
And so I think it just self-perpetuates at a certain point.
So they made strides in both minorities and women, in both their hires, their total percentage of their company, in their leadership representation, management. They all made positive strides. All those metrics did. But I think one of the more important strides they made is they changed their people processes, specifically their hiring process, because I think a big part of it was their hiring process, because they were, just to recap, they were largely focused on culture. You had to love their game. You had to play League. You had to be obsessed with League. They'd ask you about it and stuff like that. Well, we know, because those metrics are out there, that League is primarily guys playing it. Like large, it was like 90% or something like that of guys playing League, and we know that League of Legends is extremely toxic. So if that's the people you want at your company, that's the culture you're harboring. Well, they've shifted their hiring process, so it's now not so much about culture as it is acumen and skills and abilities, which is what you should have been doing all along, right?
Right.
And so now there's progress.
Imagine if Boeing only hired like hardcore airplane enthusiasts. You would never have gotten a job there, Peterson. And like the only people that they would hire are like airplane glue sniffing craftsmen that are like, I don't know, they're just like hobbyists. Like that's not a good way to run a company,
right? Right. So big pause. So my kudos, I think, is deserving that it goes to Riot Games for their progress. Obviously, I still don't love the company. I'm not obsessed with their game. I don't like the culture of their game. But as a company, they're making steps in the right direction. And their hand was forced, right? But hey, that's what Jason Schreier does best, right? Forces their hand. And
that was
that was the other one. Yeah. So, anyways, kudos to Riot for actually walking the walk,
growing up a little bit,
just a little.
I mean, they were already at rock bottom, so I mean,
only
sky's the limit.
We're kind of in the teenage phase. Like the startup is when you're a child and you can get away with literal murder, doing whatever the fuck you want, and then you're kind of a teenager, and people are like, okay, you can't be doing that. But they were past the teenage phase. They were to the point where it was like, okay, grow up.
You have to start wearing clothes in public.
Yeah. This is like senior year of college type of thing. Like, I better actually start paying attention. I'm not drinking as much, senior year of college situation.
And it's a point where if you choose not to grow up as a company, like there's a good chance you fail. And I think this is way back, going so far back, but that's exactly what happened to Atari, because they refused to grow up. And then eventually the money men came in and were like, okay, well, we're just going to take over. And then it was like done. And the whole company just went under really quickly after. So yeah, hopefully this is bodes well and they don't have to close their doors. Okay, Aaron, you have a review for us.
Ooh, yeah. So, Gears Tactics came out like a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I think.
And
yeah,
this is in the Gears of War franchise.
Yeah.
No, it's just about cars. Gears and cars.
Look, if I wanted to capitalize on that, I would make a game called Gears Tactics.
It's called Goat Gears. So yeah, Gears Tactics is in the Gears of War universe. It takes place 12 years prior to the Gears of War video game that came out back in early 2000. And it's centered around Gabriel Diaz. Gabriel Diaz is, I think he's like the main guy in 1, right? In Gears of War 1. And so you follow his story kind of when the whole war started to break out really, really kind of big. So it's pretty cool. So it's a tactics game. So similar to XCOM or I don't know, what are some other tactics games out there?
Mario versus Rabbids. Those like
there you go. Yeah.
shooters.
Yeah. So it's
tactical shooter.
Yeah, so you have limited actions for each player, for each character. Typically, you have 4 characters on the map, and you're trying to achieve an objective. So it's like holding a point, or rescuing somebody, or just eliminating all the enemies. So you utilize cover. You have a few different weapons. So in Gears of War universe, you have like a sidearm. You have your main weapon. You have grenades. And you utilize cover in Gears of War all the time. So similar thing in tactics, you utilize cover. You have an Overwatch function where you basically set up a kill zone. So when it's the enemy's turn and they come into your field of view, you automatically shoot them in the face. And it interrupts their action. So it's super critical. Yeah, so Overwatch in Gears Tactics is way more important than any of the XCOM games that I've played. XCOM, like Overwatch, was kind of like necessary, but not like super crucial. It is so important in Gears Tactics. I keep wanting to say Gears of Tactics. I'm not sure.
It's Tactics of Gears.
Tactics of Gears.
Of War.
So the cool thing is that each map, each mission, you'll get upgrades like loot boxes kind of thing to upgrade your peeps with, like rare and legendary.
And this is
stuff.
a single player thing, or can I play with people?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, it's single player. I think there is a co-op mode. I'm not entirely sure.
And I have another random question. Sorry to interrupt. How much is this game?
So this is on Xbox Games Pass. If you want to play it on Xbox Games Pass on PC, which is $5.99 a month. So you can play this game.
I'll tell you the price, folks. Just get Games Pass and don't be a dumb shit.
Like
stupid to buy this game is what Aaron is telling you, folks. $6 a month. Don't be a dumb shit. Don't tell me. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even know.
So,
it is $6 a month on Games Pass.
Okay, so yes. Okay, but the cool thing about this, you level up your dudes. So you have your main heroes that can't die, or else you have to restart the mission. Then you have people that you recruit onto your team, but you level up these guys. They have 4 different like paths and specialties that you can upgrade your dudes in to like kill more people or be better sniper or stuff like that. So tons of customization, whatever that word is.
You nailed it.
Every time. So yes, but it's a $60 game. I don't think I would recommend it at $60. I would recommend it at $6 and play it for a couple of months for like $12. But
Sorry,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Do you know where it fits in the Gears canon?
Yeah,
That's what I said. 12 years.
12 years prior. Pay attention, JD. Okay, as I was rudely interrupted.
Okay, we got to start over at the beginning. Gears Tactics in the Gears of War universe takes place 12 years prior to the first game. Gabriel Diaz. Am I doing it?
Yeah. Gabriel Diaz is the main person.
Repetition is the key to learning.
Yeah. So no, it's cool. It's super hard though. So the main boss of Act 1, it took me 3 hours to beat.
Wow. Is it harder than because I just played another game like this that you've played, Battletech, which is a cover based, not as much cover, but it is a tactical area shooter type of thing. Is this harder than that?
It's harder. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
This is the hardest tactics game that I've played.
Oh shit.
And I'm playing on normal difficulty. But maybe I just suck really bad. That could be true.
Is this
filling both though?
Yeah, that's true. Is this filling a niche for you? Because these tactics games often feel more board gamey than other games for me. Because, you're moving your pieces and they can only go so far. You're doing 2 actions, right? Is this filling that niche for you? Because you probably haven't been playing a lot of board games lately.
No, I've been playing 0 board games. So, yeah, this does kind of fit that niche a little bit.
Scratches
that itch. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think this is the first board game that we all played together.
Oh, shoot.
Gears of War board game.
Oh, my God, it totally was. That is
We
so funny.
did.
Peterson blew it and got us all killed.
Yeah, that's true. And, yeah, it's pretty accurate to the board game, which is kind of funny. But
Nice.
it's fun. I recommend it for $6 a month.
When you okay, so I have a question because when I saw the game, my first thought because I know XCOM is the same kind of like you grab your character and say go over here and do this thing. The way that Gears of War works, if you guys aren't familiar, it's like you're running. The whole world's been destroyed, and so you're running through this like destroyed city or whatever, and you hide behind a beat up car, and if you're not hiding behind that car,
you can get shot in the face.
Yeah, you have to be behind cover. It is 100% a cover based game, and so you run from that car to a pillar, and then over to this pile of sandbags, and you're shooting over them, and you can only poke up and shoot for a minute, but if you stay up too long, you'll get shot. And so it almost seemed when I saw this game that this game is more fitting to Gears of War than the original Gears of War games.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That actually is pretty accurate. It's
I'm like, this is a Gears of War game than Gears of War was.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And you can still chainsaw people in half.
All
which
that
is-
matters.
Yeah.
It's an instant kill too. You just immediately just go up to them and chainsaw their face. Well,
is there a lot of
basically the whole
enemies on
body.
each map? Is there like a bunch of them? Because I feel like in Gears of War, there's just like a ton of these monster things. Obviously, I am very accustomed to the Gears of War terminology. So all these big monster things, there's a bunch of them. Is there a bunch on each map, or is it like you 4 versus 6 other guys?
So depending on the map, they keep spawning.
Oh,
So you have side missions. Side missions typically will spawn just more enemies. So when you go up to an objective, the little I don't know what they are, like sperm flying things that fly across and drop dudes in.
Yeah.
I feel like the terminology
sperms.
as well.
I see another well-versed Gears of War player.
Just drop penises. That's what they do. No, so they drop just dudes on the map, and so that's how they spawn. They'll just keep spawning until the objective is complete or the game's over. But like the main missions, there are dudes. Like you'll get to an area and you have to fight like 8 guys. They range from different types of guys, like from the small little dudes to the big guys, kind of thing. So
the non-combat aspects of the game, is that like a lot of outfitting your characters with certain weapons, like XCOM is, weapons and armor and abilities and that sort of thing? Is there any other aspect to the non-combat version of the game?
So yeah, I mean, there is. You're going to be outfitting not necessarily the weapon itself, but you're modding the weapon. So if you have a sniper, you're going to put on a better scope, better stock, better magazine or whatever. And then armor is a little bit different because you can outfit different types of armor, like a scout armor or a heavy like marine armor. But it'll give you benefits and stuff for that. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of like not in-game stuff to do, but there's lots of customization of what path you take your character in. And there's a lot more than just shooting, because you can actually give actions to other characters if you go down that path. So it's really good. It's actually pretty deep the more you go into it.
Is there
did you beat it? Did you say you beat it?
No, I'm only on Act 2. It's kind of it's a long game.
I like that though, because it's $60. Sure shit should be long.
Yeah. So I probably spent maybe 16 hours maybe of it. Maybe not that much, but yeah, pretty close. And I'm only in Act 2, and I think there's like three acts. And there's like a main big bad guy that you're trying to beat. He's like this I don't know, Ukon guy, I think is what his name is. He's like yeah.
Is there a like permadeath type of thing? Like if you lose a character, do they die?
Yes. Yes. If as long as it's not one of the main 4 characters, they'll die. And then you have like a pool of recruits to pull from, which is good, but also not at the same time, because I haven't lost anybody yet. I've just lost main characters and then
real braggy.
Well, no, I've lost main characters and then I have to restart the whole mission again, because obviously Gabriel Diaz, who is in all the Gears of War games, can't die. So you just have to restart the whole mission.
You can't die. You can't eat cats. You can't eat
cats,
die, Kevin.
You can't die. Okay, and so you would say this is a wait for a sale or buy for $6 because
No, this is a Games Pass game.
So rent for $6.
Yeah, rent it for $6. Okay, tight.
Yeah, man.
So that's Gears Tactics on Games Pass. And now, Peterson, you have one.
I have a review.
Yeah,
a game that I bought for Christmas, talked about it, and finally got to it 4 or 5 months later. So I've been playing Link's Awakening. If you're unfamiliar, it was a release on the Switch, and it is a remaster, I guess, technically, of an older game, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. So I picked this up and started playing it, and wow, this is a fun game. It's not hard at all. It's about this. If you remember when I talked about Luigi's Mansion 3, a lot of fun, not hard. If you have low health, all you gotta do is go cut some grass in this game, and you'll find some hearts. Like, they're everywhere. They feed it to you, right? You don't die ever. But it's fun in that there's a lot of puzzle solving. There's a lot of that classic Zelda game, dungeons where you go into the dungeon and you go through the doorway, and then there's a couple monsters and you fight them, and then a chest comes down, you open it, get a key so you can unlock the door, right? Just a lot of that sort of thing. In this one, you've crash landed on an island and you're trying to, it's very Nintendo. You're trying to wake up a giant egg. And to do that, you need
like
7...
you would do.
Right. You see a big egg on top of a mountain. You got to wake it up.
Got to wake it up. Yeah.
That thing can't sleep.
Yes. What are you trying to do? I need you to help me get off this island. How did I get on that island? I don't know. But yeah, so you need to collect the 7 musical instruments to do it, to wake it up. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. You're running around this island, being very Zelda-y. I'm talking like original Zelda games on the NES. Just looks better, plays a little bit smoother, lots of abilities that you pick up. But it's simple gameplay, not very hard. But I'm probably 15 hours deep, and I have, I think, 4 of the 7 instruments. And so, I mean, it is a long game, and there's just always something to do, right? The game helps you if you're stuck. You can go to these like phone booths. I didn't know there was phones in Zelda, but you go to a phone booth and you call a guy, and he's like, "You idiot! You're supposed to go here." Yeah, you just look it up on your iPad.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, dude.
So,
old school phone.
What kind of abilities do you get?
So you start when you start, all you have is a shield and your sword, right? And so you can hit and you can block. And then you pick up an item that lets you jump. And then you pick up an item that lets you dash. And then you and so when you dash, you can long jump. Then you get a bow and you can shoot. Then you get the bombs that you can throw the bombs. And all these things are essential at some point. There's a shovel, you can dig stuff up. There's and so you have to actually go in and like map this to the X or Y button. You have to map it to those buttons. Each time you're like, oh, I want to dig now instead of the bomb, and so I just go remap it real quick. And in your inventory, you just go to your inventory and say, I want this to be X now. And I mean, and they're all like some sort of puzzle solving element, right? You need the bombs to blow up certain walls and kill certain bad guys, and that sort of thing. And so you pick them up as you go. But I mean, yeah, it's just a ton of fun just running around in the Zelda world. It's silly. It does not take itself seriously. It's classic Zelda. Just looks better. The same types of enemies.
How much is it?
I mean, it's a Nintendo title, so if you buy it, it's going to be $60.
$60, yeah, nonsense.
They don't really go on sale.
It's not worth $60, is it?
Wait, how did you get it then? Why did you say if you buy it?
I meant if you just go to the like eShop, or you go to buy it new, it's going to be.
You just walked into a Walmart and just kind of loads
if you
it into
steal
the
it,
Switch.
it's free. Did you know that? If you just take stuff, it's free.
No,
you got to be sneaky.
No, you don't walk out of the store. You just kind of pull it out and just play it right there.
Whether or not you actually paid for it, Peterson,
yeah.
I still don't have experience.
Oh man, that's funny. You're so funny, JD. Okay, so what's
going on?
No,
Did you play this game more? I don't want to make you like confess to doing crime on the air, so we'll just move on. Did you play this game more docked or undocked?
I play almost exclusively docked on the Switch because I love my my Pro controller. So I just dock and play it.
So it looks good on a big screen.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Looks great on a big screen. This is a game I would say buy from find someone who's selling it used. They'll probably sell it to you for $40. It's worth $40, right? On this as a Switch game. Go buy it for $40 and play it. The kids love it. It's very family friendly, which is another reason why I can play it docked, because then all the kids are seeing, right? it's.
So you're saying I
if
can
you got
borrow
kids, you got to get it.
the cart from you
Yeah.
later?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely want to play this. This sounds super fun.
It is really fun. It's a good time.
Okay, that brings us to a segment that we shelved the last time Aaron was on, but Peterson pulled it out, dusted it off.
Man.
Is this our first time doing this?
So
Not.
yes, kind of. Yes, kind of. So we did a.
Kind of.
Can I say kind of? No, we've done a segment like this. So we originally we're talking about the difference between JRPGs and like RPG, right? And Japanese RPGs, and then we said, well, what if other countries had RPGs? What would they look like? And we did that a couple times. And then JD had this brilliant idea. He said, let's do it for the states in the U.S. So for all of our non-U.S. listeners, you're going to get a real quick lesson into what some of these crazy states are. But so we handpicked a few states, and we're going to do if these certain states had their own RPG style, like JRPG has their own, what would it look like?
So our first one. So do you want to say all of them, or do you want them each one to be a surprise?
Let's go one at a time. Let's surprise them.
Yeah, we're gonna surprise you.
Yeah.
Wait,
Get ready to get surprised.
I like this.
Yeah, pull down your pants and here's
Wait.
a surprise.
I was supposed to be wearing pants?
It's whack-a-mole. That's the surprise. You pull down your pants and Aaron punches you right in the crotch.
Aaron, stop it.
I'm sorry. I just go around punching people in the crotches.
That's what do you do? You punch crotches.
Okay, so our first one is Hawaii. What would a Hawaiian HRPG look like?
An HRPG. Okay, so in RPGs, one of the elements that is in every RPG I think I've ever played is some sort of healing potion, right? Well, so I think I told you this story one time. My RA in college was Hawaiian and head of the like Polynesian club. And one day they were grinding kava root up in the big wooden bowl, and they gave me some, which is definitely a drug. And so the healing potions are kava. That's the healing potion.
Oh, okay.
Because that's why they drink kava.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not a drug. It just helps us chill. Sounds like a drug.
So that's the potion.
The potions are kava, and you spam, and you just spam. Oh, and kava and spam. So spam is also like how there's you find a turkey leg in an RPG and you eat it and it heals 10.
Just find a can. It's just a can of spam. That's
different types though. Different types. There's like the pineapple spam and the spicy spam. Yep, you just
Sometimes
find it.
You got to fry it.
Is there really spicy spam? Is that a thing?
There's so
There's
many
gotta
types of
be.
spam. I bet there's 30.
I don't think I've ever had spam.
What?
Which not for like I don't want to. It's just like
You never come across it.
The opportunity is not often there.
Yeah, I think I had like a bite of spam musubi once, but I don't think that's like a real spam experience.
Well,
it is,
You have
'cause
to
you put
cook
it in
You
stuff.
have to cook it.
Oh yeah, don't eat it plain. My gosh.
No.
Straight out of the can with a spoon.
Oh
No.
That's like cat
There's
food.
so much packing jelly. Yeah.
So one of these themes with I guess I should say one of these stereotypes of Hawaiian culture is that it's island, it's the Jimmy Buffett island mentality, just kind of like everything's really slow. And so in an HRPG, it's just the plot line never really goes anywhere. Just kind of wanders around, and you kind of find your own way if you want to. But if you don't want to, and you just want to go surfing, that's always an option in all
Super
HRPGs.
chill.
If you just want to chill, that's a lot of the gameplay loop.
That's like Red Dead Redemption. You don't actually have to do any of the story stuff. You can just go hunt or ride around.
Go hunt. Yeah, so exactly. So instead of hunting, you have like surfing and maybe just like riding your bike.
Fishing. There's some fishing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of fishing. Just like the mini games are just like being on an island mini games.
It's so chill. If you die, it's not really like, a lot of games you could die and your body goes like flying and it's like you're dead. Nope. It's just like you die and then it's like that peaceful Hawaiian music, that real chill Hawaiian music. And it's like, hey, bro, you want to go back?
Like, aloha. The dead,
aloha.
The you died screen just says aloha because that means goodbye as well as hello, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then you get to choose. Do you want to keep playing? Do you want to be done, bro?
What do you want to do?
Just real peaceful. It's like the why can't Animal Crossing of RPGs? You don't really die.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
it's just real chill.
The other thing, my last detail of the HRPGs is that they are very notable for. There's all sorts of music, right? Because you can have like an HRPG that's like got a cyberpunk setting, or you could have an HRPG that's like set during World War II or something. But the music is always going to have a ukulele in it. Doesn't matter. You could have like a heavy
ukulele,
heavy synth soundtrack, and you're still going to have a uke in there. That's just how it works.
It's got to be. It's got to be there. If it's not there, it's not a true HRPG. I can tell you that right now.
Do you guys have any more for Hawaii?
So my HRPG, it would just be so the combat system would be individual moves, dance moves. So the first thing that comes to my mind with Hawaii is just luau. That's all it is. It's just a big luau to me. So on combat, you would just do a dance off. You just do a luau dance off.
Yeah, I put either
just back and forth. So it's like a rock paper scissors. You're trying to guess what the other person's going to do. Maybe it's like a hip thrust to the left.
There's also,
to the right.
There's also other types of battles in quotes. There's like surf competition battles. There's a lot of volleyball challenges. But before every fight,
all your conflicts waves.
Yeah, dude. But before every battle, they're super nice to you beforehand. Like they'll give you a lei, and they're like, "Oh, welcome." They're pretty nice about it. And why I put that is Kelsey played volleyball in college, and they used to go to Hawaii. Hawaii was in their division, so they'd go play the University of Hawaii. Every time they'd like feed the volleyball team when they got there. They'd give them leis at the game. They were like so nice to them, and then they would just slaughter them. And then they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and like they were so nice about it. Like the parents, the players were like normal, right? They kept them separate, but it was like the parents and the crowd were so nice.
Yeah, they're used to watching a massacre every week.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Our next one. This one kind of writes itself. We probably could have done the whole segment about it. This is an FRPG. And you know what? FRPG is perfect. Or maybe like an FURPG. This is
FRPG.
FRPG Florida. The RPG of Florida. What does a Florida RPG look like? God, honestly, if it just emerged in 2020, they're like, hey, the new hip thing isn't battle royales, it's FRPGs. I'd be like, okay, that fits. Let's just make a bunch of games about the people of Florida.
No, you just boot up the game and immediately game over. You just immediately die.
Are you sure you want to play as like the intro screen?
A gator just eats your face off.
So I feel like a Florida RPG feels less like a game and more like a game test, in which the question everyone's always asking is, can I really do that? Ooh, can I really do this? Can I really just like go catch a wild alligator and throw it in a pickup truck and just drive around with it? The answer in FRPG is always yes.
Always.
You can do that. It's Florida.
Can I feed my
You can do
meth?
lines of coke.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
You're
truly
encouraged.
be whoever you want. You are in Florida. Do it.
That's the motto of all of them. You're in Florida, do it.
Quit talking about it. Even quit thinking about it. Just do it.
So I put one of my aspects is, so in RPGs, you always pick up abilities and stats and stuff like that. In this, you don't really, in a true FRPG, you don't really level up. You just pick up more curses.
You level down. The longer you
Yeah.
spend in Florida, the more you're leveling down.
Exactly. So your character starts to look a little jankier. You lose some teeth. You get some scars. You just pick up curses as you go. Your stats don't get better.
You're always degrading. Just no matter what the system or game is, you're always degrading.
If they're like, hey, this is a Miami setting RPG that it's 60-hour game, you're like, oh my gosh, by hour 100, I am going to be just a broken shell of a man. Slowly.
Here's a question. Are all FRPGs technically survival games then?
Obviously.
It's just like a run out the clock thing. Like, how long can you survive in Florida?
And do not go off the beaten path, because you will get eaten or killed by some kind of snake or
An animal you definitely did not know lived in the continental United States. You were like, wait, we have those here? I drove here.
Florida.
Driving? Fuck.
I drove here from a very nice place, and
Yeah, a place that just has grass and like trees and stuff. And there's dinosaurs that live here.
there's an anaconda eating a gator in that guy's pool.
Are you in the pools are filled with salt water? What is this place?
Oh man,
Do you guys have any more Florida deets?
I think that covered it for me.
Okay, here's a good one. This is kind of another one that writes itself, and Peterson is the expert and would know better than most. An NRPG, an Nevada RPG.
So, let's be honest. We're really saying an LV RPG because there's
that's
only
the only part of Nevada anyone knows about.
Yeah, I know nothing about Nevada.
Yeah,
Besides that,
yeah, you've heard of Reno. Don't go there. It's a hole. It is a worse
dump.
version of Vegas. So this is
The
a Las
only
Vegas
thing I know
RPG.
about Reno is that it's west of Los Angeles. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is crazy. Fun fact about Reno. Also, there's nothing in between anywhere you're going to drive in Reno. I'm not kidding. It's the worst drive I've ever done is from Salt Lake to Reno, and I did it all night, which was a huge mistake. But I planned on stopping at a hotel and just sleeping. I got pulled into whatever rundown town I was in, took one step into the casino, and I was like, I can't sleep here. And so I got back in my car and risked death and kept driving. And there's nothing. It's okay. So all that aside,
No, dude, you're just setting the stage for the NRPG. Like, now I feel like I have a lot of context in the genre.
yeah. So the one good thing that it really has going for it is if you walk out into the deserty areas, into the wasteland, if you will, becomes very Fallout-esque because everything outside of the major cities is just a nuclear testing ground. So there's lots of nuclear fallout created monsters and animals and things like that. Also, everything's luck based. Let's be honest. Everything is luck based because what do we do in Nevada, in Vegas? We gamble, right? So it is extremely RNG heavy.
Yes.
For good or bad,
Randomized.
everything is RNG. And if you don't have luck, this is going to be a rough game for you.
We mean everything. Technically, you could boot the game and just die. Heart attack,
Yep.
bad batch of Coke, you just die.
Bad batch of Coke.
It's also a survival game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nevada and Florida are both survival games.
Just
So
different
I
types
kind
of
of want a different
survival.
direction on this because I just assumed that Nevada RPG is what you call any gambling add-on to any game. So, like, they turn NBA 2K into an NRPG. That's
Oh,
just
there
what
you
it's
go.
called.
Yeah.
It's like a game genie of gambling. When you just like plug gambling into your game, now it's become a Nevada RPG.
Dude, that's incredible. You just add any sort of gambling element, and it is now you've just like tacked on the NRPG elements of this game.
Definitely, yeah, dude, it's a pejorative. It is definitely a negative thing, a connotation. You don't want your game to be called a Nevada RPG. You're like, oh man,
Oh my god!
it's just one spinner. It's just a spinner. Come on.
Oh yeah, one spinner turns
No.
into a binge fest over at Caesar's Palace.
Yeah. Are you guys ready to do the last one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is the California RPG.
California is
freak.
bankrupt, and California.
So I think this one is a little bit more survival also. So you're trying to walk around town and not step on needles just laying across everywhere.
Like drug needles.
Yeah, drug needles. Do you not know about this? Like, so you go down to San Francisco.
Wait, are we back in Miami?
No, there's a block. So they actually give needles out to homeless people, so they're not sharing needles.
Oh,
and so
man.
the result is you have just needles everywhere. So and then yeah, you're
all needles get a new free needle. That should be baseline.
yeah, right.
Cycling and you're not littering.
Yeah, and so yeah, homeless people everywhere.
This
So
is
it's a
just in
little
the
bit of like
city area.
it's like a zombie apocalypse, but it's still not
So this is
apocalypse.
Set in the current day Los Angeles. Okay.
It's current day Los Angeles, so you're trying not to die. And then so some of the drinks are going to be like some kind of green, leafy, not a whole lot of taste and kind of gross, those types of potions.
Yeah.
For sure, because
So
you got to get the hipster
You
stuff.
stop at a juice bar and you get a potion, right? Right.
Yeah, and then obviously your character is wearing a top knot.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's how they fit in.
So
That's San Francisco. You know,
a key element of every CRPG is the money system. So, and bosses specifically have so much money on them. So you just get tons of cash. You've got a load of cash, but everything is too expensive. So you go to a shop and it does not matter. You can never afford
They just
anything.
laugh at you. Any
you
shop
don't-
you go into.
So you have money, but you can't ever buy anything because it's all way too expensive. Or you can go and buy like one health potion, and that's it.
California is bankrupt. And California.
There it is. Michael Scott, everybody.
Okay, yeah, I dig that. I like the expensive route. I think that the one big thing that really makes something obviously a CRPG, the second you see the box, celebrity cameos. There's always a celebrity cameo in these games.
Dude, I have that
it's
same
like
thing written down.
Yeah, every single CRPG comes if it doesn't have a celebrity cameo, even a C-lister, you might as well not try to brand it or sell it as a CRPG because no one's buying that shit.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just an NY RPG. It's a New York RPG. Got to get that.
Yeah,
You got to get those celebrities walking around the street.
Right. Okay. Do you want to do? What do you want to do here? Do you want me to try to bang through these both in like 10 minutes?
Let's do. Yeah, if you can do them in 10 minutes, let's do it.
Okay. This is the review sode. We're just doing reviews. We're busting out. I hope you guys like game reviews. This is a game that Peterson talked about a year ago. I think he reviewed it. You reviewed it on the sode, or just kind of talked about it?
I think you reviewed it. Yeah.
And I got into it because I picked it up on one of these many Steam sales that are happening. And I talked about it last week. It's called Frostpunk. And guys, I am so hopelessly addicted to this game. It's like my FTL addiction all over again. Like I'm up to like 2-3 in the morning and I just don't even notice it. I'm like, oh shit, it's 2 in the morning. Frostpunk, if you guys don't remember when Peterson talked about it last, is set in like the 19th century, like late 19th century England, in which Krakatoa, that big volcano, erupted. And this is a real thing. It caused like a global cooling event for a couple of years, which caused crop failures and starvation. Well, they just tack a few things else on that, and you end up with this alternative history in which the world is like freezing over. And so you are around one of the last like generators that's situated around like a coal deposit, and it's a city builder where your objective is just survival and keeping your people alive. And it is just, it's just so addictive. I think it has like this is going to sound weird to you, Peterson. I feel like it has a soothing gameplay loop.
Wow.
I don't know. I just think it's a management sim, and it's supposed to be really stressful and nerve wracking because there's like all sorts of events. Like the temperature drops down to like 170 degrees below zero, and you're like really desperately trying to like keep everyone alive, and people are getting sick and you're chopping their arms off, and it's bleak, but I don't know, dude. It really is like, for me, it's like soothing.
Wow. You are soothed by chopping people's arms off? There's new
order.
Side of JD.
There's order in chopping away the rot.
Wow.
There's a ton of story.
Wait,
the
story's in HR.
Yeah, dude, I'll come do your job where you just fire
my
people.
job.
I just want to do the firing part.
Chop away the rot.
I don't want to do any paperwork, but I will come into the room and fire people. I think the story's awesome. Obviously, the world is just kind of really interesting. This bleak, frozen hellscape. It's like Waterworld, but with snow and less pee drinking.
Not pee drinking, just less.
Oh, yeah. There's I would never say there's zero pee drinking. Like, let's be realistic. I think the resources, it's just like a really thoughtful, well-designed game. Sometimes with city builders, there's like so many resources and so much shit to manage that you're like, okay, well, I'm overwhelmed and I'm not really interested. This one has like a really good, I think, balance of having like a lot of different diverse resources that are used for different things, but it's not overwhelming. I've never felt like the game overwhelmed me with all the things I can do. And at the worst, worst case scenario, I can hit pause. And I do all the time, just hit pause in the game and then, sort everything out. And then I hit play when I'm ready to go. I'm like 40 hours in.
Oh my God.
I know. I have just been grinding on it. I have beaten the main scenario, and now I'm trying another scenario, and there's a couple more, and I know they're still doing DLCs. I don't know. I'm going to keep playing it for now, and I definitely think it's $40. How much does this retail at?
30. I think
sounds about right.
Yeah, between 30.
Oh yeah, 30. So it's normally 30 on Steam, and I will say absolutely, this is buy for that. Like, buy at any price. If it's $30 as a base price, I would say, because I waited for it to be like 15 on a sale. And I wish I hadn't waited. Like, I wish I could go back in time and play this earlier because it was so much. It's been so much fun. So, if you like those city builder type games, or you like survival and city management games, This is absolutely worth it at $30.
Oh, yeah.
If you're kind of on the fence, if you've ever liked playing these games, like my experience comes from playing them in mobile. But even if you're like, I liked Zoo Tycoon or I liked Railroad Tycoon, and I'm kind of like, I might try something a little bit saucier, a little bit harder. This is a good fit, and I would definitely throw it on your wish list and pick it up on a sale and try it, because I think you might find yourself surprised that it kind of just hooks you. It kind of grips you. So yeah, that is Frostpunk. It's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. I wish it was on the Switch, but I also might never actually go to sleep, and I just stay up all night playing it in bed. So it's probably best.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. It is a really well thought out game. So it's, I mean, $30, it's a buy. If you can find it on any sale, it's just, you just got to get it. It's
Well,
really
it usually is on sale, right?
It goes on
It's
sale
on sale
a lot.
all the time. Oh yeah, frequently. And it's just a good game to sink hours into. And it's low stress, so you can just like pause it and walk away. So, all right, let's do this next.
Dice of Destiny.
Okay, our last segment of the week, as always, is Dice of Destiny. Dice of Destiny is this awesome little game we like to play, in which we roll a 20-sided dice with 20 different gamers genres on it. We roll a 6-sided dice to see how much money we can spend on it, and then we finally roll to see who has to find a game in that genre for that price, pick it, play it, review it. And I rolled 2 weeks ago, I rolled a RPG, and so I picked up a game that's been on my wish list for a minute called Cloudpunk. So I played Frostpunk and I played Cloudpunk.
Getting real punky up in here.
It's a punky mood. And to be perfectly honest, I played Cloudpunk for, I don't know, like 3-4 hours, and then on a whim I just switched over to Frostpunk, and then I never went back.
Oh man.
Yeah, so one punk was traded out for the other. So here's the deal on Cloudpunk. Cloudpunk is this it's an indie game, and it is set in a cyberpunk universe type city, and you are a courier working for a illicit courier service called Cloudpunk. And you drive a flying car through a vertical Blade Runner style city. Blade Runners meets Fifth Element. You land on these platforms. You park your hover car on these platforms, and then you wander through the city and you deliver packages. You talk to people. You can just run up to random people. There's it's pretty robust city. It feels lived in. It feels pretty realistic. And that's the whole game. That's it. That's the problem. I
There's
just
not
described
more?
the whole. It took me so long to describe Frostpunk, and I was gushing the whole time, and I still don't feel like I really got into the core of I didn't even touch on the core gameplay and stuff. This game I have described to you perfectly. That's it. So here's the good, and then I'll do the kind of the bad. The flying car is really cool. It feels dope. It is fun to drive. The world is really gorgeous. It's pixelated cyberpunk. So if you squint, it looks like Blade Runner on 4K. But as you get closer to these things, you see the buildings are pixelated, and the art style is that kind of pixel art. So that's cool too. I liked that. I thought that was kind of a funky take. The story is okay. I think that's actually all my goods. I'm sorry. Here's some nits. The walking scenes when you land and you walk around the city, it's a set camera. If you guys are familiar with Resident Evil, the original ones, where it's your character can move on the screen, but then as they get through that next screen, the camera's going to change and you can't move it. I thought it was kind of an interesting style choice at first. I thought it was cool and artsy, and really quickly I realized how much I hated it, because the only way you can actually see the world, like it's so crazy because I could so say I like wanted to see down an alley, but the camera doesn't like put me down where I can actually see the alley very well. So I can run and get in my car and then fly back to that alley and then see it, because once you get in your car you have full control over your camera and it's a 3D camera. But when you're running, you're in these fixed camera settings, but it's in the same game world. It's not like you're like you can fly your car right over like the streets that you walk on. I don't know, man. It's really weird
design choice for that. That seems so odd.
I don't know. It's really, and the thing is if they were both like that, it'd be one thing, but it's really jarring to switch between the car and the freedom and the flying and the verticality to like being in a very locked down experience. I know it's story driven, and that's the other problem here, is that the game is I wish I hadn't ever seen. I was kind of looking at different things people had said about the game just right at release and stuff. And one of the nits that I honestly wish I had never read this comment. Someone's like, yeah, I like the game. It's fun. It's cool. But God, the voice acting is really rough. And dude, now it jumps out to me so bad.
You can't not
really rough.
Huh? You ever notice that so-and-so says like a lot, and then all you hear is how often they say like, and you're like, I'm going to die because I feel like I have a termite ticking in my brain every time you say like. And that's how it felt, because the voice acting in this is legit so bad. It's like they didn't even try to get somebody off Craigslist or like an aspiring voice actor. It's like they just opened their front door and was like, hey, anyone out there want to come read some lines? It is really bad. It's very clear and apparent in a lot of the voice acting that the person is reading. Like, it sounds like it is being read. So that's kind of not great. And then finally, the story never really gripped me. I wasn't really invested at all. I thought it was like, I mean, part of it is like you're just like you're just an everyman, right? And you're not like some hero overturning the corporate overlords and righting all the wrongs of this cyberpunk world. You're just some,
just going to work at UPS.
Going to work at UPS. And I'm like, that's cool. But at the same time, that's so fucking boring. Are you kidding me? So I just was like, the story was boring. The voice acting, which is like the highlight of the walking parts, like walking through the city, that wasn't the greatest. The flying was the highlight. But I would say ultimately, if I had to describe this game in one sentence, I would say it is the greatest student-made game you would ever play. It feels like it was made by game development students as like a senior capstone project in their undergrad. It just has those details, those fine polished things. And I get it's an indie game, but I don't think that's an excuse in 2020, that it was enough for me to just be like, I can't prioritize this over literally any other games that I'm interested in right now. So ultimately, let's see, the Cloudpunk is on Steam, and it is, I'm trying to figure out the price right now so I can tell you. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so Cloudpunk is $20 on Steam, and I would still say wait for a sale. I wouldn't say don't buy, because those couple hours, if you look at the visuals, if you just want to sit on your couch and just kind of like, chill, like Jenna just like watched me play, and it was like kind of fun, and it was like not stressful, and it's really pretty. So like, check it out, add it on your wish list, look at the videos, but the videos are kind of like the extent of it. Like, it doesn't get that much deeper. Like, you can kind of upgrade your car, but it doesn't super matter, and you kind of upgrade your guy, but it doesn't super matter. So it's good to look, it's good to explore, and some people have enjoyed it. It's got a very positive reaction on Steam, so I'm clearly in the minority here, but I was just kind of bored by it. So that is my review for Cloudpunk, is wait for a sale.
And it honestly seems like a $5 game. Like, you buy this for $5.
Dude, at $5, you'd be stoked. You'd have it. I think you would get about as much enjoyment out of it as you would watching a movie for like a couple hours, and you'd be like, cool, that was fun. So that means we have to roll again. I will get a 20-sided dice roller, and we will. Oh man, it's already built into Google. That's very cool.
Yep.
Okay,
you just search it and it pops up.
Yep. All right, here we go. 10, and a 10 is dark.
Dark.
Have we really? I feel like we just did a dark game.
No, we did a horror.
Oh, all right.
What's the difference between horror and dark?
Dark,
dude.
is
I just think
like
you've been running through this. I think we hit dark twice. We just happened to land. Like I think it went all the way through the backup deck.
Yeah, it probably did. Dark is just like the theme. It doesn't have to be like scary. So if you search dark,
Could be lighting. Just be dim.
It's a tag on Steam that you can use.
It's
cool.
Souls.
These
Dark
are all
Souls.
tags on Steam. Okay, so that is that, and then we're gonna roll to see how much we can spend. $50 or less, so just about anyone.
Yeah.
And then finally we will roll. I will be 1-2, Peterson 3-4, and Aaron 5-6.
Yeah.
That's me. I have to play a dark game. For $50.
Get in it.
Yeah, man. Play that.
Boy.
Play that Dim Souls.
Dim Souls. That is pretty funny. That's really funny. Thank you for that. I'm gonna steal that. That's mine now. You just got jammed. Guys, if you wanna play Dice of Destiny with us, my lovely fiance Jenna has actually made it very easy for you. Go to 3bitgamershow.com/dice, and there you can just click the big green button with dice on it, and it will pump out a genre and a price for you. And you can just then go search Steam by that genre, by tag, and then within that price, and you can play along with us in our Discord channel. We actually have a Dice of Destiny server. So this week, if you want to find a dark game with JD, you can find your own, or I will let you guys know what I'm playing next week, and then we can all play along together like some sick, twisted book club.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, dudes. Well, that does it for us this week. To play us out, Peterson?
Yeah, so to play us out, I talked about Link's Awakening, and every time I've played any Zelda game, I get that dang Zelda music stuck in my head. So we are playing the Zelda music specifically from Link's Awakening.
Very cool. All right, guys. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
Aaron rolling out.
Peterson Production.